Gather round, kiddos. Gather round, freaks. After a long day of lifting weights, we like to drink some blood and read some books. Welcome to the sacred text section of the 28 Reps Later program, where we keep your mind right by enriching it with our recommended daily reading. Now, I suppose you wonder, why do you dead meatheads like to read? Because it's good for you, dumb fuck. Let's get into it. It's hot in here. One of my 200 brides will take that from me. So first up, no book collection would be complete without what I consider one of the ultimate, if not the ultimate, punk rock book, aptly titled Please Kill Me by Legs McNeil. It's basically an oral history of punk rock in the 70s through the 80s, in written interviews with Iggy Pop and all those guys, and it's fucking awesome. It's fucking awesome. It'll give you the complete history of all you need to know, and for those who don't know, you'll learn a lot. Please Kill Me. Great workout music too. There's that. These goddamn spider webs. I'll tell you about cleaning those up. Obviously, we got Edgar Allan Poe, complete poems. No Gothic bookshelf would be complete without a little bit of Edgar Allan. Then we got some books on horror movies. This one is the slasher movie book. I'm going to spare you time by telling you what that's not about. There's a lot of cool pictures in here. If you're kind of stupid like me and just getting into reading and you might not want to read that much, there's all kinds of cool images and old posters and things to nerd out about. I take a lot of artistic inspiration from these things. Scream. Goes through the complete history from the beginning up until today of probably the best genre of horror movie. There's that. There is, from the top shelf, Shit That Needs Said So You Can Kick All the Ass by our friend Joshua Coburn. Now this book's very special because it is just rapid fire motivation written in a very cool way. Cool layout, easy to read, and everything on here is just great advice, motivational shit to do to get you after it. And this really isn't meant to be read from cover to cover. It's kind of meant to be hanging out on your desk, on your spooky bookshelf. You open it in the morning. It says no more bitching. That's one. That's wishing for change doesn't do shit. Be vulnerable, be badass, and give hugs. That's great advice. I mean, that's basically what I've built my life upon. Don't suck unless it's blood. This sounds abrasive or silly at first, but when you stop and think about it for a moment, that's all life is. Working to be slightly better today than you were yesterday. So do yourself a favor, try not to suck, and watch yourself improve in small ways on the daily. That is huge. Thanks, Josh Coburn. If you need more, it's right here. Shit That Needs Said. So you, motherfucker, you can kick all the ass. You can kick my ass even. All the ass. Awesome shit. This is one of my favorite books of all time, by one of my favorite people of all time, one of my favorite musical groups of all time, the Wu-Tang Clan. This is The Tao of the Wu by Wu-Tang leader RZA. If you don't know, now you know. There are just tons of life-changing tips and spiritual affirmations. Take a look at that. The Art of Listening. A man thinks 7 times before he speaks. It's harder to make glass than to break glass. Ancient warrior mindset shit in here, along with personal anecdotes from his amazing life, career in the Wu-Tang, lessons learned. I mean, I don't really look to too many people for inspiration, but the Riz is one of them, and there's a shit ton of knowledge in this book that I recommend to everybody. Even if you don't know who the Wu-Tang Clan is, even if you hate rap music, even if you hate music, you should listen to this. It fucking rules. You should read this, rather, and listen to it. All the above. The Tao of the Wu. God bless. It's for the kids. Give your kids it. They'll learn more from that than any third grade book. The Laws of Success by, excuse me for messing this up if I do, Paramahasa Yogananda. Yogananda. Parashama Yogananda. This is the first of many books by him, even though I can't pronounce his name. I think it's fucking great. He's basically known for popularizing yoga and yoga philosophy out here in the white people west. He brought it over. He started schools in California, and he has a shit ton of books. This one is just great, kind of like the Josh Coburn book. You can just pick it up and read a section of it, and it's great, just life-changing advice. In here, another one by him. This is one of my favorite books ever. It is Autobiography of a Yogi, and this really tells Yogananda's full story from his humble upbringings in India and all he went through with his studies and his spiritual journey, which ultimately brought him here to teach us the yogic philosophy and the meaning of life and deep shit, and it's fucking amazing. I've read it twice, and I normally don't read books more than once. I would read it again. I would read it once a year. I would read it every day if I could. Great book. Wonderful book. This fall is that. It's the Upanishads. It is another part of Hindu philosophy, if you couldn't tell. I'm pretty into that kind of thing. It's great for just your spiritual well-being. You know, we talk about mental health a lot. We talk about physical health probably more than anything. Diet, weightlifting, nutrition, all that bullshit. But once you start talking about spiritual health, you get a little hippie, weird, crazy. But I think the Hindus knew it best, and the Buddhists knew it best. And this can speak to anybody. Have an open mind, and you'll get stronger in every way. It's powerful, powerful shit. Very much is true with this as well. Striking Thoughts for Daily Living by my pal and your favorite, Mr. Bruce, rest in peace, Lee. They fucking killed Bruce Lee. He didn't die of natural causes. He was too smart, too healthy, too dangerous, too good looking for that. And he's going to teach you how to live your life. Let's open up to a section. Let's read something. Independent inquiry is needed in your search for truth, not dependence on anyone else's view or a mere book, or, as Lee cautioned in his last film, Enter the Dragon. It is like a finger pointing away to the moon. Don't concentrate on the finger, or you will miss all the heavenly glory. Think about that shit for a fucking second. Anyway, there are just tons of formatted as such. Boom, 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 boom. Just striking thoughts the way it is. It's just a 1, 2, 3 punch in a roundhouse to your face, to your mind, to your heart, to your soul. All through this, I recommend just reading a page of this a day. Like, it's not really meant to be read cover to cover. It's kind of just hits you with points and his personal philosophy, and we're still learning stuff from him today. He's one of the most fascinating people ever to me. So definitely the Crypt recommends anything by Bruce Lee, but specifically Wisdom for Daily Living. Kick it, kick it, kick it. We're almost done. This one is, if any book should be able to be called Life by someone who has lived it the most, it's probably should be Keith Richards. And I feel like he needs no introduction, and this 700 plus page thick book does his life like this much justice, and it's unbelievable. Just tons of wisdom from this dude. He's one of my heroes in life, and one of your heroes in life, even if you don't know it. Definitely check this out. And he's still alive. So, that's all I'm saying. Read it. Listen to it. Do only good drugs and you'll be okay. Raising Hell, Ken Russell, The Making of the Devils. If you don't know about the Devils, if you don't know about Ken Russell, one of the best film directors ever, not even just horror film directors, and this kind of goes behind the scenes of his most infamous, dark, crazy, satanic, sexual, fucked up movie that is awesome. Definitely not as profound as the Bhagavad Gita or life or any spiritual learning from that, but it's awesome. And stick to your passions. Do what you want to do. This is inspiring. Next, my buddy, and your favorite, the punk rock vegan warlord, The PMA Effect by John Joseph. I think he's like a 5-time Ironman. He's insane. I went on his walking tour of the Lower East Side and met him and got to talk to him about training, nutrition, mindset. This will change your life. And basically all you need to take from it is just have a positive mental attitude and stop bitching, stop being negative, and this basically details how that can change you and those around you for the better, and who to cut out of your life that doesn't have this in their mind. This is powerful shit. John Joseph is one of my favorite people in the world. He has other books too. I've read them, but this one is by far the best. And it's not too preachy, which blows. I hate when people preach their philosophy or their way of life or their diet. You know, he barely talks about the vegan diet in this. Positive way to think, way to live, and way to be. Positive mental. The PMA Effect by our buddy John Joseph. He's a badass motherfucker. Anything by David Bowie, or about David Bowie, or on David Bowie, or even if David Bowie approved of it, if David Bowie even looked at it, if David Bowie read it, just do it. Just he's God. There's no one else. It's David Bowie. Anything about David Bowie, definitely read. Oh shit! The Chainsaw Confidential. This is Gunnar Hansen. Rest in peace. Leatherface wrote a book about what it was like to be Leatherface in probably my favorite movie ever, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And it tells his point of view of how it got made, what he went through, what the whole crew went through, just being Leatherface in this amazing movie. And it's amazingly written, and he is missed. Never got to meet him, but this will make you feel like you did. This is great. Everybody should read this. You should read this, cameraman. You motherfucker. You should do it.
You should talk about the snippet that you told me.
Oh, yeah. The cover, if you are not familiar with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, is the ending frames of the movie. That he's just swinging the fucking chainsaw and going crazy, and it looks like it became a super iconic scene. It looks like he's about to come through the TV and kill you, but what you learn in this book, and I'm going to spoiler alert it, is that he actually was trying to hurt the director or director of photography because he had just gone through hell making the last scene of the movie, which took like 30 hours, and he was pissed, and he was hot, and he was Leatherface, and he was really swinging the chainsaw to hurt people, which is fucking killer, and it really shows. You can really feel it. You can really feel the anger and the just tension build up in the last 15 minutes of that movie, and it's unleashed in the last scene, which is the cover of this book, and there's many more where that came from. Everything's bigger in Texas. Even this book. This book's little here. What the fuck? Done. Everything Mine by Chris Grosso. If you're an avid listener to the Death Comes Lifting podcast, you will know that Chris Grosso was on episode 6 of the Death Comes Lifting podcast. But that's not why I recommend this book. I read this book well before he was even a thought to be on the podcast. He was so nice to do it. He was awesome. We learned a lot from him. He is just he's a former addict turned kind of spiritual guru. He counsels kids. He works in rehab centers, and he writes a lot about mindset and meditation and just positive ways to change your life and live your life for the better. Anybody as fucked up as me really appreciates this. You will too. Thanks, Chris Grosso, for all you do. And he has a ton of books. This is just one of my favorites, but all of his shit's great. And look him up on Instagram. He writes for Fangoria magazine. Sometimes he's a horror nut too. He's a heavy metal nut. Me and him we're very closely connected spiritually. It's great. Awesome. Shaking the Pumpkin. This is probably the most unconventional book on this list. I've read it twice because it was so jarring and weird and just super interesting. And it is a collection of traditional Native American poetry. And it might sound kind of off-putting and kind of like you don't want to read 300 pages of that, but trust me, you do. It is enthralling to say the least and will challenge everything you ever thought ever, but it's also very beautiful. And even the way some of the poems are structured is stuff you've never seen before. For instance, like that. Super interesting shit. And way crazy. You get the picture. It's awesome, and it kind of details all they went through and their philosophies and their rituals, and it's fucking awesome. It's fucking awesome. I think a lot of books are boring. I think a lot of things are boring. This is the opposite of that. So when I find something that's not boring and totally captivating and crazy, I'm into it. This is about as crazy as it gets. I think that's it for the sacred text this morning. There are more than that in the recommended reading section of the plan. Probably some that I didn't cover. These are just ones that I wanted to share with you today. Thank you for coming into my Gothic library and hanging out with me for the evening. Stay tuned for record recommendations.